We've got breaking news out of college football where Arkansas is targeting Memphis's Ryan Silverfield as their next head coach. That is the latest from our Matt Zenitz. Silverfield has spent the past 6 seasons as the Tigers head coach, posting double-digit wins in 2 of their past 3 years. This season, Memphis went 8-4, narrowly missing out on the American Conference Championship game. Silverfield will take over an Arkansas team that went just 2-10 this season under combined efforts of Sam Pittman and Bobby Petrino, the interim. The Razorbacks have played in just 4 bowl games in the past 9 years. Brandon Marcello here to help us react to this news. First and foremost, what do you think of the hire?
Well, a little bit surprising because earlier in the week, Alex Golesh was at the top of Arkansas's list. In fact, they had been talking for a few days, but they go and get Ryan Silverfield. A lot of moving chairs on this deck on this early Sunday as coaches get hired and there's some moves being made. As a result, I think dating back to John Summerall in his talks with Auburn breaking down on Thursday, and now we're seeing some big moves. But Ryan Silverfield's just a winner. He's 29-9 over his last 3 seasons at Memphis. I think this past season was a little bit of a disappointment, going 8-4, considering the talent they had returning. They end up finishing behind some kind of fast risers in the conference, especially North Texas, USF. Of course, their coach is now also headed elsewhere. But Silverfield's a guy where I think his values very much fit Arkansas. At least that's what they're saying. Kind of a guy who really, really wanted the job. And also remember earlier this season, Memphis beat Arkansas. They're in the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. So Silverfield's obviously very familiar. And I think also more importantly, he's familiar with the state. He's been living just outside of the state of Arkansas at Memphis here for several years. He's familiar with kind of the landscape, the recruiting landscape, the inherent challenges, the benefits. So probably a situation where I think you'll probably hear some negative feedback from some Arkansas fans, but in the long run, could probably end up being a very, very solid and good hire for them to get them back on track and get them back to the bowl games.
Yeah, Memphis was in the mix for the American Conference this year before losing their final 3 games of the regular season. You mentioned what some of these Arkansas fans might be thinking about this hire, but what sense do you get of his readiness to make that jump up to the Power Conference, not just Power Conference, the SEC?
Yeah, Memphis is one of the richest programs when it comes to NIL and support for their football program. So in a lot of ways, he's prepared to go into a situation at Arkansas where there's a lot of front office structure you've got to build. You have to have some understanding of all those moving pieces, especially when it comes to recruiting, and then also just with scouting, bringing guys in out of the transfer portal and having a good tape on them and a feel on them before you go and go target these guys, say, in December and January. Remember, the high school recruiting period, the signing day is coming up here very, very soon. And, of course, the transfer portal opens up in January. And the problem for Arkansas the last several years is that they've had mass exoduses from their roster from the transfer portal the last 2 years. In fact, the last 2 years combined, Arkansas leads the SEC in defections. So I'm not saying he's got to keep everybody there on the roster. Of course, there's going to be some pieces you just want out because they didn't perform very well. But can he come in and bring a calming hand, a calming force there? Because Arkansas has been missing that for several years.
Also been missing wins, Brandon. So what should expectations be of this Arkansas football program?
Yeah, get back to a bowl game. Get it back there. Maybe not in year 1, but you need to see some progress in year 1. You need to have some excitement offensively. You need to see a defense that's not giving up on plays and giving up on tackles. If you watch Arkansas down the stretch, which not many people did because they lost 10 games straight, it was abysmal. Some of the worst football I've ever seen from that program, and I'm an alum there at Arkansas. So the first time ever they've ever lost 10 games in a row in a season. So anything other than a winless season would be better than what they had this past season.
Yeah, speaking on behalf of the Arkansas fans there, Brandon Marcello, the bar is low. Just win more than 2 football games, and I'm sure they will be happy. But it is a new era for Arkansas as they hire Ryan Silverfield, who is expected to be the next head coach. The moves are coming fast and furious on this Sunday. Auburn filling up, Florida filling up. We'll continue to react to the latest coaching hires right here on HQ.